Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's Last Post ceremony. My name is Suzanne Peterson, and joining me today from the Royal Australian Army is Cherie Thiers. We warmly welcome the family of Lieutenant Clarence William Wolfenden, whose story will be told shortly. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. The live stream of this ceremony is made possible by the Returned and Services League of Australia and the RSL and Services Clubs Association. We welcome members who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony live. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by family and visitors to the memorial. If able, please stand and join in singing the national anthem.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are one and free. With golden soil and wealth for toil, our home is got by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains, then let us sing, advance Australia fair.
The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this National Memorial Museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they'd done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record that they themselves made. Tonight, we'll read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 103,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to Lieutenant Clarence William Wolfenden. Clarence Wolfenden was born on the 23rd of March 1894 in the Melbourne suburb of Prahran. Known as Clarry, he was the oldest of two sons born to local chemist Hopwood Wolfenden and his wife Daisy. Clarence received his early education at Armidale and Turunga Road State Schools and later attended Malvern State School. He won a scholarship to attend the prestigious Wesley College, where he excelled in both sports and academic subjects. He later won a military cadetship, which entitled him to 4 years training at the Australian Military College, Duntroon in Canberra. He joined the class of 1911 and won the gold medal for the highest combined marks during his first year, and quickly became a popular student. He excelled in his studies, topping almost all of his subjects and making the list of distinguished cadets. Clarence had completed 3 years and 2 months of his training at Duntroon when the First World War broke out in August 1914. He and his classmates graduated early from military service, and he enlisted in the Australian Imperial Force on the 18th of August 1914, receiving his commission as a lieutenant in the Australian Imperial Force the following day. Wolfenden was assigned to the 4th Battery of the 2nd Australian Field Artillery Brigade and began his training at Broadmeadows Camp in Victoria. Clarence embarked for active service from Melbourne on the 20th of October 1914 on board the troop ship Shropshire. He reached Egypt in early December and joined his comrades at Mina Camp, near Cairo, where they continued training. Camped in the shadow of the pyramids, they also enjoyed periods of leave in which they were able to explore the capital and its surroundings. On the afternoon of the 25th of April 1915, Wolfenden's unit went ashore on the Gallipoli Peninsula, landing the only artillery gun at Anzac that day. Positioned behind the front lines, the 2nd Field Artillery Brigade spent the remainder of April 1915 positioned behind the front lines, searching for enemy guns and providing artillery support for the infantry battalions. Wolfenden's commanding officer later praised Wolfenden's work, saying he worked very well and was cool and courageous. In early May, Wolfenden's unit was moved to a position on the 400 Plateau near Lone Pine, on the southern end of Anzac Cove. There, they were able to zero in on Turkish trenches and batteries and engage the enemy in direct fire. On the 7th of May 1915, Wolfenden was at the observation post when the battery was firing on enemy lines. While speaking with his commanding officer, a shell burst over their position, killing Wolfenden instantly. His comrade, Bombardier Arthur Mann, later wrote, "We could hear the shells coming, and they would luckily go over with a terrible hiss and a burst just over us. Their range was about 10 yards or so too much. However, one was coming in, and for some reason, Wolfenden stood up, and poor chap, he caught it right in the face. He was beyond aid and was killed outright. I was sorry, for a better chap could never have been met." Though Wolfenden was killed on the 7th of May, his death was later recorded to have occurred on the 11th of May due to conflicting reports of the incident. Wolfenden's remains were later buried at Beach Cemetery, Anzac Cove, where they lie today beneath the simple inscription chosen by his family: "A popular officer, deeply mourned." Clarence Wolfenden was 21 years old. His name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my right, among almost 62,000 Australians who died while serving in the First World War. His photograph is displayed today by the Pool of Reflection. This is but one of many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Lieutenant Charles William Wolfenden. who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old like as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them. Lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozieres in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the last post ceremony. On behalf of the Director, staff and volunteers, thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial today and for your continued support during the memorial's development project. We wish you all a very pleasant evening.